pieces of the tree that are called siren, and then there'll be a value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So each siren ID, oddly enough, it's called siren, but it actually is a light. You'll see I just turned that on. If I turn all of these on, which as you can see here, coordinate to the light bar, you'll see an array of lights come on. Now these could be, depending on what vehicle you're modding, they could be smaller, bigger, harder to find. They could sometimes be under the vehicle. Like for example, this one, they're inside the light bar, but on a few other models, they're far below the vehicle. So it could be more difficult to find than others. However, this one makes fair sense. So each one of these, like I said, coordinates to a different light here. So you can see that siren 1 is this right side, the far red side of the light bar. 2 is this here. 3 is this one. And then 4 happens to be this. So each one is seemingly randomly assigned to a different light. And we'll just go ahead and turn on the rest of these around the vehicle so you can get an idea of what the rest are. So obviously these two here are the rear lighting in the window, the bottom of the window. These two here appear to be the front dash lights, and these appear to be the grill or push bar lights. Now there's probably more around the vehicle. Here's one. Okay, so these are the sides of the push bar, these two lights. So you'll have to do a little bit of digging to find out exactly where everything is. These, I believe, don't quote me, see what this is. Oh, no. These are, okay, these are the license plate lights. So we'll dig around a little bit more, but usually, oh yeah, here's the last one. These are the headlight flashers, the strobes that flash to the sides. So you can see here we have the full array of lighting for the vehicle, and this particular vehicle has a large variety of different lights to mod. But next I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly how making the pattern works. So if you navigate to your vehicle wherever the carcols are, I'm doing this for 5M for LSPDFR or just normal modded GTA. The carcols for your specific vehicle might be in a different location. However, the method is still the same. So I already have it opened up here, but if we just go ahead and open this up. One thing, let's go over this. So in the car variations file, for this specific vehicle, you'll see that below the vehicle, there's a siren settings and light setting. So siren settings is the ID of the lighting pattern that it uses. So this particular one uses 704. If you'd like to make a custom pattern for a different vehicle, for example, if you want to duplicate the vehicle, change the name of it, and have different patterns, you could just type in a random value. For example, we could do 168, and that's just what the ID would be. Let's actually use 168 for this particular example. So you're going to navigate on over to your carcols for the vehicle, which can be found wherever they are, carcols.meta. So, luckily BX Bugs has made this pretty easy for us. I'm actually changed the wrong one. And you can see he has each one of these, every once in a while, he has one of these pieces of code labeled Siren 1, Siren 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 20. And you'll see there's a lot of different values and stuff to change. But let me go ahead and show you basically what each piece of code here does. So there's a couple different pieces here. We have rotation, flashiness, corona, and a few others here, which we don't need to mess with. So from what I'm aware of, rotation is the values for the actual environmental light that displays in the environment. If you don't know, carcols are what create environmental lighting in the game world. Flashiness, from what I'm aware, is just the pattern that the light turns on and off. It's as simple as that. Corona, not exactly sure. I'm still experimenting, but from what I know, you don't need to modify this. Change the pattern. And you'll see each one here has a, the main one you'll want to mess with is flashiness, the flashiness values. So delta is the direction it's facing. So it seems like a array of random numbers, but let me go ahead and pull up a quick guide that explains how the delta ID works. Okay, so we're back here with a guide that Captain 14, I believe, put together, and you can see here that there is a array of different directions and each one has its own value. Now these are seemingly random and I'm not exactly sure how it works, but you can see here that in our carcols, delta is set to 1.57079600 or so on, whatever. And that appears to be the left side. So that this value being here will make the light shine to the left of the car. At least the environmental will. So I'm not exactly sure what the start and speed values have to do with anything, or if you even need to change them. I've never had to make my lighting patterns, so we'll just leave those. And this is the most important one here, sequencer ID. So this number tells it how to flash. It literally gives it the flash pattern for each specific light on the light bar. Now, let me explain to you exactly how you get this number. Okay, so we're on a little website called Binary Convert, which essentially lets you convert a binary value to a decimal value. This will be linked in the description, and this is key and required for creating the lighting pattern. So in this case, you can click these little boxes, which is very useful, to add a 1 value to the lighting pattern. So in this case, a 1 is the light being on and a 0 is it being off. Now, normally, if you were to go over to here and you were, let's just say with the light bar, if you were to try and think about exactly when each specific light is going to be on and off through a 32 stage, not 32 stage, it has, how should we say, it has 32 different light stages. So there's 32 different spots for it to change on and off, and that's the limit for it. So if you were to sit here and think about specifically how many times which one's going to flash in a 32 allocated space, it would be very difficult. So what I've created is a very basic Google Sheets with checkboxes and different siren IDs that you can easily use to rearrange and visualize out what the pattern will be. So in this case, to make this a little bit easier to create our pattern, let's go ahead and figure out exactly what lighting IDs are going to be our light bar and from which direction. So let's figure out from the back. So in this case, the front of this light bar has takedowns, so these two are not going to be illuminated unless you're using the takedowns, so we can forget about those. These two lights here are going to be on the rear of the light bar, I'm assuming. So let's go from left to right and figure out which is which. So 1 is the far left, so we'll just leave that there. 2 is this one. 3 is this one, so we'll go ahead and shift 3 over. So if you can see what we're doing, this is the left side of the light bar and this is the right side. So it goes 1, 3, 2. Let's figure out what this one is. It's 11. So let's go ahead and grab 11 and we'll pull that over here. So this specific light bar has 4 different sets for LEDs. So there's this, and then 4 more. So this is going to be 1/2 of our light bar. Let's figure out what this one is. It's 13. So we'll go ahead and put 13 next to 11. Go down the other side. 5 is going to be next. There. 4 is already in the right place. And the last side is going to be 6. So this is our light bar. We could forget about these for now. These are the rest of the lights in the vehicle, but these are going to be our light bar lights from left all the way to right. And I already have 32 different stages in here. So let's go ahead and put together just a simple pattern, one that's fairly commonly used. So let's start with the red side of the light bar. So if you can see what I'm going to do here, this is going to represent one side of the light bar being on, this side is off. So I'm just going to do a basic double flash pattern. It's pretty simple. Also, one thing to keep in mind is that because it is 32, whatever setting of lighting you put together has to be repeatable with a division of 32. So for example, it can't be you can't grab an odd number and then stack it up all the way to the end because you'll run out of space and it will not loop correctly. So what we're just going to do is a basic double flash pattern. So it's going to go on, off. Then we're going to go the other side, do on, off, off. And then let's go ahead and do it one more time on the other side. Go do it one more time over here. Oops. Okay, so what we've just done is made it so it goes on, off, and then it goes to the other side, does on, off, off, and so on. And we have enough room here. We're actually exactly at 16. So this is half of the pattern. Actually, no, that's not 16. This is technically 15, but this would be 16. So this marks the halfway point for the pattern. So what we could do now is we could change it up and do a different kind of pattern. So let's just go ahead and do a all light bar flash. We're doing a very simple pattern. And what we can do for this is pretty simple. We'll just have it flash on, off, all the way to the end. And then it will loop over and start back at the beginning. So this is the pattern for the light bar set out. And let me show you how we translate this to the sequencer value. So you can see here we have siren value 1. So let's actually go ahead and break my monitor up here so we can have two different sides so we can record this pretty easily. So let's go ahead and follow the pattern. So if we pretend this is the top here, we'll do on, off, on, then it stays off for 5 stages. So we'll skip 5, do another 2, just like this, do another 5. We're gonna do, and then we're just gonna do integrated flashes all the way to the end, and we're gonna leave 1 open at the end, just like this. So you can see how this right here translates to this, what I have selected. Pretty simple. Without this tool I put together here on spreadsheets, it would be very difficult. Next, we're just going to go ahead and hit convert to decimal, and it's going to give us this magic number. I prefer copy pasting this one because it turns out better in the text file. Let's go ahead and pull this just out here. And remember, this is for siren value 1. So on siren value 1 here, we're just going to go ahead and change the sequencer value of flashiness and rotation. So changing it for both basically means that the environmental lighting will sync with the LED that's flashing. So the environmental will match the pattern. Pretty simple. One little comment here is the color value here. So this is the color for the environmental light. This doesn't actually change the color of the light on the light bar. It just changes the environmental light. And on the guide here, this guide Glitch Gamer has put together a list of different common colors with the ID that you put in. So this will also be linked in the description, but we'll deal with that later. The colors are already set. So let's go ahead and move on to number 2. We're going to hit new conversion. We're going to go ahead and just clean this up so we can go ahead and start over from the beginning. All right. And next we're going to do siren value 3. So it's going to be actually, oh, here's the thing. So because we're using the same exact pattern for these two, for this side of the light bar, I actually made a mistake there. My bad. Because we're using the same pattern for 4 different siren IDs, we can actually just copy the sequencer value. Because it is the exact same flash pattern. So we're going to need to go ahead and copy paste siren 1's sequencer to 3, 2, and 11. So we have 2 right here. Let's go ahead and copy paste that in. Save. Let's go ahead and move down to 3. Go ahead and paste that in. And then we're going to need to go all the way down to 11, which is right here. We're just going to need to paste that in. So that is the left side of the light bar done. Let's go ahead and program in the other side. So it's going to be 4 blank spots here. So we'll put 1 there. We'll do the on, off. Then it's going to be off for 5. We're going to do the same thing. And actually, it's just going to go straight into a integral flash all the way until the done. Easy. Now, if you want to do more complex patterns, this situation we have here becomes extremely useful, and I will actually show you a pattern I was able to put together using this method at the end of the video here when we're previewing what we've created here today. So we're going to need to go ahead and copy paste this value onto siren ID 13, 5, 4, and 6. So let's go ahead and start with the lowest, which is 4. So let's go ahead and scroll on down to 4, which is right here. Let's go ahead and paste that value in. Define 5, which is right here. Let's paste that in. We need 6, which is right here. And we're going to need to go get 13, which is way down, right here. Sorry if it's a little disorienting when I scroll very fast, but you should be able to find them. So what we have just done is programmed in the lighting for our light bar. Now, for the rest of the lighting on the vehicle, I already have it set up to just do a basic double flash back and forth. You'll see what I mean in game. So let me just give you a little preview of what it would most likely look like. So let's just pretend we wanted to go ahead and mod these rear lights here. So this is I believe this is the back window. So let's find these IDs. It's going to be 12 and 16. So let's just say we want to do a basic back forth position, just literally on, off, on, off. Very simple. Let's go ahead and just do that real quick. It's extremely basic. So 12 and 16. So for ease of access, let's just go ahead and put 12 and 16 next to each other, just so for ease of access right here. Let's just go ahead and shift those over here so we have a little work. So this is the red side right here, and 16 is the blue side. So let's just go ahead and do this. So we're just, to extend it out to just be very basic, let's just do for 4 different state sections of the pattern, it's going to be on. Then for 4 more, it's going to be the other side. And we'll just go down and it will just alternate. So the reason I'm doing 4 in a row is to make it so it's a little slower than the rest of the pattern. So it's not flashing very bright back and forth. Obviously, it's all up to you. Creativity is key here when creating a very badass pattern, like I have done with one of our vehicles in my community, which, like I said, will show off at the end. And then for the other side, obviously, you can see it just alternates back and forth. So let's go ahead and program this together with the binary converter. So it's cleared out here. So we have a slate. So it's just going to be 4 on, 4 off. Very simple to type out. However, we will need to do this 2 times. Obviously, 1 for the other side. Let's go ahead and convert that over. And we'll just go ahead and program that into 12, which is actually right here in front of me. So we'll just go ahead and type that out there. Or copy paste that inside. And then let's go ahead and just mirror this and do the other side. I hope you all are understanding the way this works, and I hope it's not too confusing. I know sometimes I have trouble explaining certain things, but hopefully this isn't too confusing. So let's go ahead and plug this value into Siren 16, and I'm just going to leave the rest of the lights, but we're not going to go over the entire car today. I already have a basic flash pattern programmed onto these ones for my community. We'll just go ahead and leave those the way they are. So let's go ahead and actually, let's show us something else here. So at the very top of the thing, so it's above Siren 1, you can see there's actually a left and right headlight and tail light sequencer values. So changing these values actually lets you program in your own tail light flashers and wigwags. Now, unfortunately, wigwags do not work very well with Non-els. Essentially, the issue with wigwags with headlights is that once you turn on your lights, it automatically puts your takedowns on, and it doesn't make your headlights work, which kind of sucks. So most of the time, you won't see people make headlight flashers with Non-els. I do have a basic taillight flasher thing plugged in here. We'll just go ahead and skip over that for now. So obviously, make sure you save. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to load into my 5M server. We're going to go ahead and load the resource, and we're going to go ahead and have a look at how our pattern looks. I'll also show off the pattern that I was able to create, a more sophisticated pattern, if you will, with Non-els. Okay, we're going to be in 5M now, and due to some technical difficulties, I wasn't able to load the pattern we just created because the server box is down for some reason. So what I'm going to have to do is just show you the one I was able to put together using this method. And there's also one more thing I want to go ahead and mention at the end here, just before we end it off. Okay, so we're here with the Crown Vic, and I'm going to go ahead and preview the pattern I put together for my community. So it's essentially I don't know exactly what you call it, but you look at the light bar, you can see that it goes in and out. And I used the same method I did today program this lighting pattern in. And you can see I have a basic double flash pattern for my tail light, not my tail lights, sorry, for my rear lighting. It just double flashes and it alternates. For the front, it's the same story. We got our headlight strobes gonna be flashing. Let's go ahead and go nighttime so we can see this a little easier. So we have every light on the vehicle except for the light bar is a double flash. And you can see I have my tail light flashers on a slow back forth wig-wag pattern. So this just shows you some of the stuff that you can do with making custom non-els patterns. And honestly, it's a great way to stray away from the same non-els patterns you see on the same set of vehicles that you see all the time. It also lets you make some of your own, like I've done today, with this pattern that most of my community seems to like a lot so far. So we're going to go ahead and quit down the game now, and I'm going to show you one last thing before we end this off. Okay, so we're going to be back in the file here. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention is that there is a thing here called sequencer BPM. Now, obviously BPM standing for beats per minute. I'm not sure how accurate beats per minute is to this value. However, this value, to some rough example, changes how fast the pattern goes. Now, if you increase this to like 800, for me, when I've increased it to, if I've increased the number drastically, the lighting pattern will completely bug out, and it will repeat itself and it will glitch all over the place. So you got to be a little bit careful with this value, but going in increments of 50 up and down and trying that each time seems to yield fair results. With customizing the speed of the pattern. I don't know if there's a limit to how high or low it can go. I haven't really played with it that much. But hopefully this video has given you an overview on exactly how carcols work to a basic extent, and also a way to modify them to the easiest extent. And I also encourage you to play with certain values here, like start, speed, things like multiples. I'm not really educated in a way that it works, at least with my level of expertise that I have so far, and I'm just dipping my toes into the modding for carcols, but I thought that it would be pretty beneficial to the community to be able to show how to modify carcols for the future, and it's also something that when people open up carcols, it looks extremely daunting at first, and it's just a bunch of numbers, but there really is a simple way to code it. So again, hope this helped you. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you have any discoveries or anything like that, you can also leave them in the comments. Or any suggestions for future tutorial videos or anything that you would like to know with 5M or just GTA modding in general, you can let me know down there. All the links I used in this video should be in the description, hopefully. But aside from that, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.